Hello and welcome back to Football League World TV. We've got another debate show this afternoon where we're going to be looking at the 3 AFL clubs you should be looking to start a career with on Football Manager 2022. Joining me, I've got Ned Holmes and Chris Thorpe for the debate. Ned, how are you getting on?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, mate. A bit of a quieter weekend given the international break and no championship football, but sort of back feeling a little bit refreshed and recharged.
Good stuff. Chris, how are you?
Yeah, really well, mate. Looking forward to this. I'm a very big FM fan, so looking forward to getting into it.
Absolutely. Something a little bit different on the channel today. So we're going to get straight into it with your picks from the championship. So interestingly, your championship picks are exactly the same. Both of you have gone with Derby County as the club that you'd like to start a career with on Football Manager 2022 from the championship. Wayne Rooney's side, obviously bottom of the championship, started on -12, and there's so much off-field uncertainty around Pride Park at the minute. I'll come to you first, Chris. Why did this appeal to you then? This Derby County job on Football Manager 2022.
I think about the game. Me speaking from a personal perspective, I love a challenge, and I think you're not going to get a bigger challenge on FM22 than Derby County because of the points deduction. But at the same time, I think it's intriguing because they've actually got a good squad there still, and I still feel like they've got the talent there to actually that situation. Maybe not so much in real life, but on the game, you've obviously got a little bit more of a chance. So yeah, I fancy it as a challenge that I'd personally take on if I was playing the game.
Yeah, so you mentioned there that the squad at Derby is still pretty good. Any players in particular that you'd be building your squad around?
Yeah, so I'm a bit boring really. I usually play a 4-2-3-1 formation, and I'll probably build it around Ravel Morrison. I think he's got the ability to, maybe get double figures for goals, but certainly create quite a lot from that number 10 position that I'd look to play him in. So yeah, I look to build it around him, but then also, you've got the likes of Louis Sibley and Max Bird as well. So a good sort of core of midfield players that I think you could build a squad around.
Any Derby County fans joining us, tell us whether you'd be starting a career with the Rams on Football Manager 2022. We'll come over to you now, Ned. So why did it appeal to you, the Derby job then?
Yeah, I think exactly what Chris said there. Really, it's sort of a challenge of it, and it's a chance to sort of rebuild a fairly big club. The squad's sort of so threadbare and so many short-term contracts that you've sort of got a free hit in the sense of that it's a squad that's already breaking down and you're getting to sort of start fresh. This takeover is expected soon. Good academy system, big stadium, good fan base. Like as Chris said, more of a chance. I don't think I'm not sure whether the second points deduction just sort of plays into it on the game or not. But even if it does, either if it doesn't, you've got a better chance of keeping them up. If it does, you sort of means your first season's a free hit. You touched on it there about it. I think it's Louis Sibley, Max Bird, Cornell McDonald, Dylan Williams, and Jason Knight all got 5-star potential. And there's all these sort of young players coming through as well. And with it, that sort of threadbare squad, you're sort of forced to give these young players that chance in the first season. I think that's just really exciting.
Yeah, so that was a big thing for you that you put on your notes to me before the show, wasn't it, Ned? The young players. Let's just talk about a few of those. The likes of Louis Sibley. He has got great potential, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's just, as Chris said, you've got someone like Ravel Morrison there who's obviously, in the latter stages of his career now and got all the attributes. But someone like Sibley, I think, is someone that you'd probably see, you'd see some real development over quite a small period just because of the amount of, game time and responsibility that you're going to give him. And that's obviously really exciting.
Absolutely. All right, I've got a question now for both of you that you will have seen. If you could sign one realistic player for Derby on the game, who would it be? I'll come to you first, Chris.
Well, sort of cheating a little bit here because obviously he's been linked with them in real life, but I think Phil Jones would actually be a really good signing on loan. If it got to January, obviously, the restrictions being in place, obviously on the game as well as in real life, I think getting him on loan for the second half of the season would be such a sort of area of the team that they're quite short. They've only got Curtis Davies and Phil Jagielka. I think I worked out the combined age of 75% of that partnership. I know Phil Jones is no spring chicken, if you like, but he's definitely someone who could come in there with a good level of quality and sort of improve that area and give them some more depth there. So I'll go for him on loan, yeah.
And what about you, Ned? Who would you be looking to bring in?
I think I'd be going the other end of the field. Just like Chris, I'd be going for a Premier League loan, but a much younger player. Someone like Ellis Sims, Liam Delap, or if I could get him, I know Joe Gelhardt of Leeds always seems to fire in the goals on loans. So if I could get him, I'd be going for him, I think.
Any watchers on, get in the comments and let us know who your pick would be from the Championship. Do get in touch before the end of the show. Next up, we're going to dive down into League One. So I was glad that you both went with different picks for League One. We're going to start with you, Chris. You went for AFC Wimbledon. Apart from the fact that they're your club and you follow them up and down the country, so you'd be ideal for the manager's job. Why were they the team that you'd want to manage from League One on the game?
I looked at it from a perspective that you could be there for a good few years on the game, and youngest team in the league, a lot of young players there that you could develop and hopefully take to the Championship. I'd be very hopeful if you did take over Wimbledon on the game that you'd be aiming high, because I certainly would be, as you'd expect. And I think that it's a challenge because obviously you don't have the best finances in comparison to your Ipswiches and your Sheffield Wednesdays. So you have to be clever with it. You have to get players on decent contracts, look to sell them on in order to buy other players to improve the squad. So yeah, you'd have to be clever. And then also you got the fact that we're playing in our first season at Plough Lane, back at Plough Lane, our new stadium, which obviously has a capacity to be expanded to 20,000. So if you did get promoted, you get the stadium expansion as well. So yeah, some plus points on and off the field if you took the Wimbledon job.
So come on then, let's talk about some of the personnel that you'd be inheriting in the squad. Who'd be your star man?
Oh, it's got to be Ayoub Assal for me. Plays as a number 10, but can also play as a sort of support striker or as a winger on the left or the right. Really good Moroccan under 23 international. We've actually got him on a long-term contract. We gave him a long-term contract in real life till 2024. So thankfully he's tied down for a good number of years and he's improving every week. So he'd definitely be one that I'd say is a one to watch and sort of look after and sort of build your team around. And then you've also got Jack Ridoni, obviously speaking in real life again, been linked with some Championship clubs such as QPR in the past. We're very hopeful that we can obviously hold on to him for as long as possible. He's a contract you might want to extend in the game. I'm pretty sure his contract's up at the end of the season in real life, so we'll be on the game as well. So yeah, those would be the ones that I'd say are the standouts for me.
And if you were going to improve your squad, where would you be looking to improve it and with who?
I think I'd be getting in another striker. No disrespect to the options we have. We've got Dafa Mabede, who's arguably a winger on loan from Watford, and then we've got Aaron Presley on loan from Brentford. Obviously, they're two temporary ones. They're going to go back at the end of the season, so you want to sort of make up for them leaving. And then obviously you've got Ollie Palmer, who's going to be there. So I'd want to get a new striker in, and the two players I had in mind actually are two sort of players that are sort of looking to get a move away from their clubs in January. So I've gone for James Norwood at Ipswich, obviously a really good goal scorer in the Football League, and then also Ellis Harrison. I think he's speaking in terms of Harrison, I think he's a good player, can hold the ball up and also getting behind. So I think it'd be something different to add to what is a young team as well. They're both pretty, old sort of options in comparison to our other members of the squad. So I go for those two if I was looking to improve the team around January.
All right, over to your sort of selection now, Ned. You went for Sheffield Wednesday, obviously a very talented squad that you'd be inheriting at Hillsborough, a huge fan base as well. A fallen giant almost, given how far they've fallen in the sort of the space of the last 20 years. Why does this job appeal to you?
Yeah, as you said, sort of waking a sleeping giant, if you will. Loads of talent in that squad, and I think that means there's some of the work, the sort of transfer that were made late in the window, it means you've got a bit of depth and you can really play around with what sort of system you want to use because you've got quite a varied set of players, I think. And I think you should have enough quality to bounce back up to the Championship in that first season. So I think you could have a lot of fun with it, really.
Yeah, and you speak about the talent that's within the squad there. Who'd be your standouts, do you think?
I think really you're looking at players like Dominic Orfa, Barry Bannon, Massimo Luongo, who are really championship quality players. But there's a couple of younger ones. I know that there's a young centre back, Lewis Gibson, I think he's called it, who I think's pretty high potential and surprised me really. But Joe Wildsmith's also a player that seems to be fairly highly rated.
Yeah, what about Josh Windass? Would he come into your thoughts there as well?
Absolutely, I think that dynamism. The interesting thing is they do have a lot of forward options, as we'll get to perhaps in the next question. I'm always looking to sort of, that's an area that I think it's always the most exciting area to improve on, really. And that's probably an area I'd still look to improve on, but certainly Windass is someone that you'd want to bring in when he's available.
Yeah, so you've led me nicely into it. Who'd be the player that you'd be wanting to look to sign for Wednesday?
Well, it's an interesting one, really. Sort of not necessarily cheating, but Dapo Afolayan at Bolton, someone who for the first few weeks of the season, probably now, is a player Wednesday might not be able to get in January, given the sort of clubs that are going to be interested. Perhaps in the summer, that's someone that we'd be able to pick up because we'd be preempting that sort of form. But if not that someone like that, then, and I mentioned him briefly in the Derby one, but a striker like Ellis Sims, I think, scored a lot of goals at that level, probably someone you could still bring in as well.
Absolutely. Two very different picks there. Anyone joining us want to get in the comments and let us know whether you agree or disagree with Chris and Ned's selections so far. Let us know before we dive into League Two. So, Chris, coming back to you, your selection for League Two was Salford City. High-profile owners, big ambitions at Salford City, but manager eaters as well. Why do you want to risk yourself with this job?
I don't know. I feel like I could take on Gary Neville in the ballroom. I'm only joking. No, yeah. I think the budget that they have there is obviously unbelievable for that level. And I look at the squad that they've got, just reading off a few names here. I think up front's probably the most exciting area right now. Tom Elliott, a good striker that we had at Wimbledon. He's a good player for League Two level. He's obviously at Millwall as well. Brandon Thomas Asante, he's only 22, sort of a player you could build your team around. And then you got Ian Henderson, who's a bit of a golden oldie. I'm pretty sure he's in his 40s now. Obviously scored quite a few goals at Rochdale. And then you look into midfield, you've got Jason Lowe and Matty Lund, both in their 30s, two very experienced players for that level again. And then also looking at in goal as well, you got I think it's Zeacock on loan from Birmingham City, and then you've also got Tom King, who's at Newport and done quite well there. And then Ashley Eastham and Jordan Turnbull at centre back, and also Donald Love, who's at Man United before. So you got a squad there, and I just think with the money that you'd be given on the game, you should have enough to get them up automatically, and prove Neville and the class of '92 wrong and stop them from sacking you, basically.
I mean, you've just reeled off some names there. Do you feel like the squad would need much work, or do you think, like you say, you'd be able to get that promotion straight off the bat with what you've got available?
You know what? I wouldn't do too much to it in the summer. I think I'd probably get rid of one of the strikers because, like I said earlier, I usually play one up front if I'm playing the game. Maybe I'd send Ian Henderson packing because of how old he is. No offense, Ian, if you ever actually watch this. Get into the January window, I think I would bring like a sort of star player in, if you like, and I'll go for a player I watched at the weekend. Actually, Callum Roberts, very good winger. Cuts inside onto his left foot a lot. Can also play as a number 10. He's impressed during his time there since he signed from Blythe Spartans, I think it was. So I think he'd be a good player to bring in to play out wide and sort of deliver balls into the box for Tom Elliott to head home. So yeah, I wouldn't look to change too much actually, because I think like we said earlier, the squad's pretty good as it is.
We've had a comment in from the EFL lover who would be saying that managing Sutton United on the game would be fun. Ned, any thoughts on Sutton United before we come on to your selection?
Yeah, I mean, first season in the EFL, that's a real one. It'd be nice to take sort of from rags to riches, if you will. Small club. To take them all the way up would certainly be an exciting one.
Yeah, you've gone with Exeter City as your pick, haven't you, Ned? The nearly men of League Two from recent years. They're always in and around the playoff and promotion pitch, but never quite getting over the line to get back into League One. what appeals to you about it?
I think it's sort of twofold, really. First of all, you've got that, as you said. I think it's 3 playoff final defeats in the last 5 seasons for Exeter, which is a torrid sort of run, really. And it's a team they've never made it to the Championship, and I think it's an exciting one, taking sort of charge of a well-established League Two team with enough quality, sort of like Chris was saying, in that squad to really be able to, aim for promotion and then hopefully kick on. But equally, it's a fan majority owned club. I think 53% owned by the fan base, and I think that is, I think we're all really playing. When we play Football Manager, we part of the times we're doing it, it's for these Cinderella stories, and I think in the age of the millionaire billionaire owners, the Newcastle takeovers, to have a fan majority owned club climbing the English football pyramid, feels almost good morally. And I suspect we'd all like our respective clubs to sort of be fan owned and be able to have success. So I guess playing into that narrative is sort of the fun part of taking Exeter up.
Absolutely, and it's such a great club, is Exeter. I've been at St James's Park a number of times as a neutral, and I've always really enjoyed it. Finally, it's a question that we've had running right through the show, Ned. But who'd you be looking to sign on the game for Exeter?
Well, I think with the Exeter one, you're looking at it as a project. Obviously, you're going to be there for years if you're ever going to have any success. And Callum Gribben's sort of an attacking midfielder who is a free agent at the moment, and you don't have a huge amount of budget. I had a little look at Exeter. It's pretty much 50k transfer budget, I think, and only a little bit of wage budget. And he's someone with some. It hasn't worked out for him. At Barrow, I think he was at most recently. But he's someone with really good technical stats. He's 22, still pretty high potential. And I think sort of plugging him into a team with the likes of Sam Nombe, Matt Jay, stuff like that, I think that would be really exciting. And he's someone, I think he's really sort of strong dead ball specialist as well, which is always a bonus.
Absolutely. We want to hear from fans of Football Manager 2022 in the comments. Let us know who your picks would be and whether you agree or disagree with Chris and Ned. So we've actually got a competition over on the Football League World Twitter account where you can win yourself a copy of the Football Manager 2022 game. It's 2 steps, really, really simple. Just subscribe to the Football League World TV YouTube channel and retweet the Football League World tweet to be in with a chance of winning that game. The competition closes on November 30th, I do believe. So that concludes the debate show. Thanks to Chris and Ned for joining me. Been really interested to know your picks there and where you'd be going. And I think you've really justified why you'd want to be managing the clubs that you've done up and down the EFL. Later on today, we've got Sam York with the EFL Transfer Zone, where he's going to be running you through a little bit of speculation heading into the January transfer window. And in the meantime, if you haven't already, please subscribe on YouTube. Until next time, take care.